Hello everyone! Today, Angus and I dived the SS President Coolidge wreck in Espiritu Santo, Vanuatu with Aore Adventure Sports and Lodge. This dive site is known as one of the most accessible wreck dives and the world's greatest shore dive. The ship, measuring 200 meters, at first was a luxury liner in the United States. Then during World War II, she was converted into a ship to carry over 5,000 troops and vital supplies throughout the Pacific. In the channel between Santo and Aore Island, the Americans placed mines at the channel's main entrances that were usually used by ships, and it was wider so they could fit through. However, there was one safe passage where there were no mines between the islands Aore, Bokisa, and Tutaba, and there was a white rock painted as a guide in. But this information was not given to the captain beforehand, and there was a risk for Japanese to overhear commands on the radio. So, as it was natural to do so, the captain of the Coolidge steered her into the channel through the main entrance and ended up hitting a mine which blew up the engine room. A second mine was then struck, which left the captain no choice but to beach the ship. They were close to shore, and it was low tide, so the troops could easily walk off to safety. They were also told to leave their belongings and that they would be salvaged afterwards. But the Coolidge unfortunately slid down into deeper water and now rests on her port side with the bow at 18 meters and the stern at 70. We went to the dive site by boat and were guided through the wreck by dive masters Kingsley and John, who have dived the Coolidge more than 1,000 times. We descended onto the bow and did our first dive on the outside of the Coolidge. A salvaging team had previously brought up a cooking pot with some cups, bottles, guns, and some other things to look at. Kingsley also showed us a shark cage that was left behind by the salvage team that they had brought down just in case. Diving deeper towards the stern, we saw lots of fish and a moray eel. We then dived over the starboard side and to what would have been the top of the ship. We saw the skylights there before heading back towards the bow to do our decompression stop and finish our first dive. Two hours later, we got back into the water and Kingsley and John showed us some of the shells for the 3-inch guns on the foredeck. We entered the wreck through cargo hold 2, and to our right was a barber's chair. We continued across to what would have been the bottom of the ship, and Kingsley showed us the rows of toilets that were installed side by side with no privacy for the troops. They look like they are facing down, so I turned the camera so you can see them upright. In another section, there were some more guns and GMC trucks. Now we come to the section where the aircraft drop tanks were stored. Next stop was in the bow. There were a few small spaces along the way. And I kept kicking up the silt. Sorry, Angus. Inside here are folded Willys Jeeps. They were folded and stacked closely together for storage. However, one here has fallen down and Kingsley didn't hesitate to show us. The last stop had a few more tight squeezes. Here I got a little bit stuck. And so did Angus, who followed after. Despite the wreck itself being so amazing to explore, there was still stunning marine life to observe, such as this nudibranch and electric or disco clam. There was also a school of fish here. As we came out the wreck, we saw a large moray eel and many anemones and clownfish at our deco stop. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. See you in the next one.